Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Meghan and Harry Tales. I'm Adrian, your storyteller, here to peel back the polished curtains of the royal stage and reveal what really happens behind the gilded doors of Windsor. Today's episode is going to be different. We're going deeper than the tabloid headlines, deeper than the carefully crafted palace statements, deeper than the sanitized royal correspondence reports, because today we must talk about something that the British press would rather you ignore, the real tensions inside the House of Windsor. Now, I know what you're thinking. Adrian, we've heard about royal tensions before. What makes this different? Well, let me tell you, what we're witnessing isn't just another family squabble. This isn't about who gets which tiara or who sits where at state dinners. This is about the fundamental fracturing of the monarchy itself. The current storm isn't just about Prince Harry, though the palace would love for you to believe that narrative. No, this runs much deeper. This is about the widening rift between King Charles and his heir, Prince William. A rift so profound that it's changing the very nature of how the crown operates. According to respected royal correspondents like Tom Sykes of the Daily Beast, father and son barely even speak these days. Let that sink in for a moment. The King of England and his heir, the two people who are supposed to represent the continuity and stability of the crown, can barely hold a conversation. Imagine that. A king and his heir, supposedly united to serve crown and country, now communicating mostly through their private secretaries. Not through heart-to-heart talks over tea in the private apartments, not through shared strategy sessions about the future of the monarchy, but through staff carrying messages back and forth like they're living in some medieval court drama. This isn't normal family dysfunction, my friends. This is institutional breakdown. When the two most important figures in the monarchy can't communicate directly, what does that say about their ability to lead a nation? What does it say about the example they're setting for the Commonwealth realms, who look to them for stability and leadership? And here's what makes this even more troubling. This communication breakdown isn't just affecting their personal relationship, it's affecting policy decisions, public engagements, and the very direction of the monarchy. Sources close to the palace describe meetings where Charles and William sit in the same room but address each other through intermediaries. Can you imagine the tension in those rooms? The real kicker. This tension isn't caused solely by Harry's potential return to the UK, though that's certainly added fuel to the fire. The mainstream media wants to paint Harry as the source of all royal discord, but the truth is far more complex and far more damaging to the institution than they're willing to admit. There are three very specific, very serious disagreements between Charles and William, and each one exposes just how fragile and fractured the monarchy has become. These aren't minor philosophical differences. These are fundamental disagreements about the nature of kingship itself. Let me break this down for you, because understanding these conflicts is crucial to understanding why the monarchy is in such crisis, and why Harry's departure was a symptom, not the cause, of these deeper problems. First, the question of modernization versus tradition. Second, the balance between duty and personal well-being. Third, the definition of what it means to pull your weight as a royal. Now, on the surface, these might sound like typical generational differences. Every father and son might disagree about these things, right? But when you're talking about the monarchy, these aren't just personal preferences. They're about the survival of an institution that's already struggling to maintain relevance in the 21st century. Let's examine each of these conflicts in detail, because what you'll discover is that the very qualities William supposedly wants in the monarchy, the modernization, the balance, the authenticity, are exactly the qualities that Harry embodied and was criticized for. William, we're told by multiple palace sources, thinks his father's reign is outdated. He believes Charles's monarchy radiates pomposity and looks desperately out of touch with modern Britain. Charles still loves the old uniforms, the ermine robes, the golden carriages, the elaborate ceremonies that have surrounded the crown for centuries. He sees these traditions as the bedrock of royal authority. But William? He sees all that as baggage, dead weight, a barrier between the crown and the people they're meant to serve. He reportedly rolls his eyes at the pomp and circumstance that his father cherishes. He wants streamlined ceremonies, fewer honorary positions, a more accessible royal family. Yet here's the irony that should make your head spin. The press, the same press that shapes public opinion about the royals, often criticises Harry and Meghan for supposedly being too modern, too willing to change things, too willing to challenge royal traditions, too American, too Hollywood, too different. But who is it really that sees the monarchy as stuck in the past? William himself, the golden boy, the heir, the one who's supposedly doing everything right. Think about this for a moment. Harry was conducting Zoom calls with veterans during the pandemic, connecting with young people on social media, talking openly about mental health, making the monarchy feel accessible and relevant. Meanwhile, William was learning to do exactly those same things, but years later, and with much less natural ease. William may want modernization, but he can't deliver it, not when he's trapped within a palace system that fundamentally resents change. The courtiers, the private secretaries, the ancient protocols, they all push back against innovation. William finds himself fighting not just his father's vision, but centuries of institutional inertia. Meanwhile, Harry didn't just talk about modernization, he lived it. He brought fresh energy through the Invictus Games, transforming how we think about wounded veterans. He revolutionized royal engagement through Sentebale, making HIV advocacy cool and urgent among young people. He pioneered global conversations about mental health, breaking down stigmas that the royal family had maintained for generations. The very things William claims the monarchy needs: authenticity, relevance, emotional intelligence, are exactly what Harry had already embodied. But instead of learning from Harry's success, the institution pushed him out. The second major conflict between Charles and William centres on something that goes to the heart of royal identity: the balance between duty and personal well-being. William reportedly disapproves of the way his father puts duty above everything else, above health, above family, above basic human needs. Charles, even at his age and through his recent cancer treatment, insists on maintaining a packed schedule. He believes the monarch must be visible, available and active, rain or shine, sickness or health. It's the old-school royal philosophy: the crown never rests. William, by contrast, favours what palace insiders call personal sustainability. Family first, appearances later, quality engagements over quantity, deep impact over surface-level ribbon cutting. Now this sounds reasonable, doesn't it? Even admirable. A future king who understands that burnout serves no one, that family stability is crucial for effective leadership, that the monarchy needs to model healthy work-life balance for modern Britain. But here's what makes this conflict so revealing. For years, Harry was mocked, vilified, and ultimately driven out for making exactly this choice. He was brave enough to say, "I won't destroy my mental health for the institution. I won't sacrifice my family for endless duty. I won't pretend to be okay when I'm struggling." The tabloids called him weak. Palace courtiers questioned his commitment. Royal experts suggested he was betraying his birthright. And yet now even William the heir, who was supposed to represent everything Harry wasn't, is leaning toward the very same values. Think about the timeline here. Harry spoke publicly about his mental health struggles in 2017. He talked about the toll of royal duty, the impossibility of processing grief under public scrutiny, the need for professional help. The response? Criticism for being too open, too emotional, too American in his approach to personal wellness. But now, in 2025, William is advocating for the exact same approach, just quietly, within palace walls, without the public honesty that made Harry's journey so powerful. And what's Charles's response to his heir's new philosophy? Frustration, disappointment. A sense that William is abandoning the fundamental compact that makes monarchy possible. Total dedication to duty above all else. This isn't just a family argument, it's a philosophical crisis about what the monarchy stands for in the modern world. And then we come to the third and perhaps most damaging point of conflict. Charles reportedly believes that William simply isn't pulling his weight. As heir apparent, William is supposed to be the monarchy's workhorse out there day after day, appearing all over the country, cutting ribbons, shaking hands, embodying the crown in every corner of the realm. But Charles sees his son prioritizing family life over these endless obligations. William takes school holidays seriously. He refuses certain engagements if they conflict with family time. He's selective about which causes he'll champion and which events he'll attend. Now, family life is important, no one disputes that. William has 3 young children who need their father present, not just as a future king, but as a dad. Kate has her own health challenges to manage. The Wales family needs stability and privacy to function. But think about the double standard that's been applied here, and you'll see why this conflict is so revealing. When Harry chose family over endless royal duties, he was condemned as a deserter, a shirker, someone who was abandoning his responsibilities to chase Hollywood fame and American dollars. The narrative was that he was selfish, ungrateful, and fundamentally unsuited to royal life. When William makes similar choices, prioritizing family, being selective about engagements, pushing back against the palace's expectations, he's praised as modern, relatable, and thoughtful, a future king who understands work-life balance. But behind palace doors, even Charles is frustrated with his heir's selective approach to royal duty. And that frustration has spilled into public view in ways that reveal just how deep this rift has become. William reportedly had to be pressured into attending key state events. He skipped important commemorations that Charles saw as non-negotiable for the heir to the throne. He's pushed back against the traditional royal schedule in ways that have left courtiers scrambling to fill gaps. This isn't Harry ducking duties. This is the future king redefining what royal duty means, and his father isn't happy about it. So, what does all of this tell us? It tells us that the monarchy is not the stable, unified family the press tries so hard to portray. Behind closed doors, it's tense, difficult, formal, and fraught with fundamental disagreements about the future. Charles is disappointed in his son's approach to kingship. William resents his father's outdated leadership style. And Harry has been made the convenient scapegoat for problems that existed long before he married Meghan and long before he decided to step back. The real story here isn't about Harry's rebellion, it's about Harry's clarity. He saw these contradictions, these impossible expectations, these destructive patterns, and he had the courage to name them publicly. He didn't just complain in private or work through intermediaries. He said, "This system is broken, and I won't participate in breaking people." And make no mistake, when it comes to Harry, William's opposition hardens into something approaching hatred. A friend of William's told the Daily Beast that he sees any meeting with Harry as a terrible, terrible idea. Let that phrase sink in. Terrible, terrible idea. Not challenging or complicated or difficult to navigate. Terrible. Imagine that level of animosity toward your own brother. A brother who's living the values you claim to want, who's found the balance you say you're seeking, who's built the kind of authentic public service you say the monarchy needs. This tells us that William's opposition to Harry isn't really about duty or tradition or institutional loyalty. It's about something much more personal and much more damaging. It's about the threat Harry represents to William's carefully constructed narrative about himself. Here's what I see when I look at this whole situation. Charles and William's fractured relationship proves that Harry was never the problem. He was the truth-teller. He was the one who exposed the cracks long before they became visible to the rest of the world. The chaos wasn't caused by Harry's departure. The chaos was already there, built into the system itself. Harry simply chose not to live under its crushing weight. While Charles and William drift further apart, communicating through staff and nursing private grievances, Harry has built a life rooted in honesty, direct communication, family priority, and purposeful service. He embodies the very values they claim to want, but cannot achieve within their own institutional walls. The palace wants you to think Harry is the outsider, the disruptor, the cause of royal chaos. But the truth? Harry is the example of what the monarchy could become if it had the courage to change. And that, my friends, is why Harry remains a figure of strength, not scandal. Not because he's perfect, but because he chose authenticity over performance, health over duty at any cost, and love over institutional loyalty. Thank you for joining me today for this deeper dive into the real royal story. This has been Meghan and Harry Tales, and I'm Adrian. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that cut through the noise and bring you the truth behind the headlines. Until next time, stay thoughtful, stay kind, and never forget, sometimes the outsider is the only one who truly sees.